St. Mary MacKillop Burial Lawn. Mary MacKillop, Australia's first saint, died at Alma Cottage, North Sydney in 1909. She was buried in the Sisters of St. Joseph's plot in the Catholic section of this cemetery. In 1914, her remains were reinterred in the Mary MacKillop Memorial Chapel in North Sydney. A timeline of Mary's life is located adjacent to the Mary MacKillop Burial Lawn in this cemetery.
The birth of a saint. 1842, the eldest of 8 children, Mary Helen MacKillop was born the 15th of January to Scottish immigrants Alexander and Flora MacKillop in the family home in Brunswick Street, Fitzroy, Melbourne.
The St. Joseph's School. 1866, with concerns over a lack of Catholic education in South Australia and the desire to serve better the educational and spiritual needs of the poor, Father Woods and Mary MacKillop, with the help of Mary's siblings, opened the St. Joseph's School in an old Penola stable. Later in the year, Bishop Charles visited Penola as part of his pastoral visitation, and he referred to Mary, dressed plainly in a black dress, as a Sister Mary, confirming her aspiration for religious life.
Mary of the Cross. 1867, taking her religious vows on August 15, Mary MacKillop became the first sister and Mother Superior of Father Wood's newly formed Order of the Sisters of St. Joseph of the Sacred Heart. The first convent cottage was opened in Grota Street, Adelaide, where Mary became Mary of the Cross.
Expanding horizons. 1869, after her final vows in December, the Sisters of St. Joseph were invited to Brisbane, Queensland, to carry out their vision. Mary overcame many obstacles within the church and grew aware of church politics. Her time in Brisbane marked a coming of age and showed Mary as a true leader. However, in September 1871, Mary was excommunicated because of a misunderstanding between herself and Bishop Charles, who was ill at the time. The excommunication was lifted 5 months later as the bishop neared death.
Setting foundations. 1873, Mary travelled to Rome to have the rules and constitutions of the Congregation of the Sisters of St. Joseph approved by the Holy Father. The authorities in Rome produced a new simplified constitution which the sisters accepted and which upheld the principle of central government. By 1871 over 120 women, on average only 23 years of age, had become Sisters of St. Joseph. Mary was aware of the demands of religious life in colonial Australia and learned each sister's name and wrote to them regularly.
A new beginning. 1875, returning from Europe, Mary called the first general chapter of the congregation, where the new constitutions of the Institute of St. Joseph were accepted by the sisters, and Mary was elected the first superior general.
Dissent with the bishops. 1876, following many issues with Bishops Matthew and James Quinn, the Sisters of St. Joseph were obliged to leave Bathurst and Queensland due to the bishops' refusal to accept the central government of the institute. The two brothers wanted to have diocesan control over the life of the sisters.
Heading east. 1883, due to a commission of investigation of the institute ordered by Bishop Reynolds of Adelaide, Mary MacKillop was banished from South Australia. She left the diocese and travelled to Sydney, New South Wales. Mary also set up her first foundation of sisters in Temuka, New Zealand, in 1883 and made 4 visits to the sisters, as schools spread throughout the country.
Diocesan Growth. 1888, a decree from Rome constituted the Sisters of St. Joseph of the Sacred Heart as an approved regular congregation, with the Mother House in Sydney. The decree ruled the diocesan congregations of the Sisters of St. Joseph to be distinct, and required some alteration in their habit and rule. The diocesan groups were formed. 1877 Perthville. 1880 Wanganui, New Zealand. 1882 Goulburn. 1883 Lochinvar. 1887 Tasmania.
Continual Progress. 1898, Mary was once again elected as the Mother General, after the death of Mother Bernard Walsh. In 1902, Mary had suffered a stroke in Rotorua, New Zealand, which left her permanently disabled.
The Eternal Reward. 1909, Mary MacKillop died in Alma Cottage, Mount Street, North Sydney on the 8th of August. After the Requiem in St. Mary's Church, Ridge Street, North Sydney, Mary was buried in the Sisters' plot in the Catholic section of the Gore Hill Cemetery. Mary was the first Australian nun to go outside the cities and minister to Australia's poor rural and working class.
Final resting place. 1914, The first Mass in the Mary MacKillop Memorial Chapel in North Sydney was celebrated on 8 December 1913. On January 28, 1914, Mary MacKillop's remains were exhumed from Gore Hill Cemetery, and the following day, after the chanting of the Solemn Office and the celebration of the Requiem High Mass, were reinterred in the vault under the altar of the Blessed Virgin.